ya Pemba. Wala sitabaki naenda Pemba, ndege naruka. Wala sitabaki naenda Pemba, ndege naruka. Nasikia ni kuzuri, mbioni kuna upepo, eti kuna nukia marashi ya barafu. Nipae angani, nikatishe bahari, chupa junione, alafu ituwe Pemba, marashi nipoke, Pemba oh Pemba. Wala sitabaki naenda Pemba, ndege naruka. Wala sitabaki naenda Pemba, ndege naruka. Nasikia ni kuzuri, jioni kuna upepo, eti kuna nukia marashi ya barafu. Nikatishe bahari, chupa junione. While standing up, I'd invite the quiet leaders in singing the Kenya National Anthem and the staff anthem. Then we shall get a prayer from the school chaplain.
Yes, sir.
Na tukae na undugu, amani na uhuru, raha tupate na ustawi. Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarishe umoja wetu, tutikuza yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Let us pray. Our Father and our God, in the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, we are gathered here today to celebrate Kenya's law of government at 100 years. We thank you for the vision of the Gene School of training public servants in Kenya, whose mandate has been granted to Kenya's law of government. Holy Father, we thank you for His Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya and the Commander-in-Chief of the Kenya Defense Forces. We pray that your grace and love abound in him in every facet of his life. Give him and his cabinet wisdom and strategy to govern Kenya and lead her into prosperity. We pray for the Council of the Kenya School of Government, the management, and the staff. We pray for the thousands of graduates from Kenya School of Government, including those graduating today from various training areas. We pray that you help us utilize skills and competencies acquired from this school for quality service delivery in Kenya and beyond. Holy Father, bless us, the Kenyan people. Protect our sovereignty. May we dwell in harmony. May plenty and prosperity be found within our borders. We pray this in the name of God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Tuombe.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Kwa jina la Mwenyezi Mungu mwingi wa rehema, mwenye kurehemu binadamu wote. Kila sifa njema ni zako wewe Mwenyezi Mungu, muumba wa mbingu na ardhi. Ya Allah, tunashukuru kwa rais wetu wa Jamhuri tukufu ya Kenya, Daktari William Samoei Arap Ruto, ambaye kwa rehema zako umetuchagulia kama Wakenya awe ndiye kiongozi wetu. Mola Mwenyezi Mungu, tukuomba umpe nguvu, hekima na maarifa ili uongozi wake uwe ni neema kwa jamii ya Kenya. Mola wetu mpenzi, kwako vile vile tuwaombea viongozi wakuu wote serikalini, wakiwemo mawaziri na kila aliyetoka jukumu la uongozi, ili Kenya iweze kuimarika na kunawiri. Tunakushukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa mafunzo haya tunayoyakamilisha hivi leo. Allah, yajalie yawe yenye kutuongezea maarifa katika utekelezaji wa majukumu yetu. Tuombea pia wananchi watukufu wa Jamhuri tukufu ya Kenya, kila walipo, umoja, amani na upendo. Tunapofika kilele, tunakumbuka mwito wetu kama maafisa wa serikali, back to our duties. Mungu utusafirishe kwa maeneo yetu salama salmin. Amin, amin, amin.
We may be seated. The Honorable Geoffrey Ruku, Minister for Public Service, Human Capital Development and Special Programs, the Honorable Attorney General, Madam Dorcas Odor, Cabinet Ministers present, Principal Secretaries present led by our own Principal Secretary, Dr. John Kere Imbunya, the Chairman of the Public Service Commission, Your Excellency, Ambassadors present, members of the Kenya School of the Chairman Kenya School of Government Council, members of Council, distinguished guests invited as speakers during this special ceremony, the graduating public servants who have undergone various training programs at the Kenya School of Government, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I invite all of us to this 100-year celebration of the Kenya School of Government. 100 years ago, you'll be told, there was established the Jin School that forms the nucleus of what we are here gathered doing today. Allow me, our Honorable Minister, to invite the Director General, Kenya School of Government, Professor Nura Muhammad, to formally invite us here. Then he'll invite the Chairman of the School Council to make his remarks.
Thank you so much. Our chief guest, who is our Cabinet Secretary for Public Service and Human Capital Development, Honorable Geoffrey Ruku. Cabinet Secretaries present, including our Attorney General, Dr. Jen Kere Imbunya, our Principal Secretary, State Department for Public Service, Excellency Governor Kisumu County, Professor Nyanyongo, PSS present, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Our chief guest, it is indeed my privilege this morning to welcome all of us to Kenya School of Government as we launch centenary celebration and begin this year on reflection, renewal, and innovation. Our chief guest, this occasion celebrates not only 100 years of institutional excellence, but also our enduring commitment to preparing public servants who can lead, who can change, who can strengthen institutions, who can improve service delivery, who can also advance national development. Our chief guest, our greatest legacy is found in the thousands of public servants whose leadership has strengthened institutions over the years. We are particularly honored this morning, our chief guest, that this milestone coincides with the graduation of officers drawn from different levels of government each representing school commitment to continuous learning and leadership development across the public sector. Today's graduates are a powerful reminder that the true measure of any training institution such as the Kenya School of Government lies in the quality of leaders it produces. We celebrate graduates of the Diploma in Public Administration, Deputy County Commissioners, participants of the Leadership Program for National Transformation, and members of our staff who have advanced through recognition of prior learning framework. Our chief guest, this clearly demonstrates that leadership development is a lifelong journey that is capable public servants, therefore then remains greatest Kenya's strategic asset. As we enter our second century, our chief guest, our ambition as Kenya School of Government is to ensure that we remain ahead of the challenges shaping the governance across the world, such as emerging technologies, artificial intelligence, democratic change, climate risks, and shifting citizens' expectation, which requires government that can anticipate change and respond with agility. Again, I want to commit to you, CS, that His Excellency President, and I quote, he said that we should not be at peace with mediocrity. And today I want to say here that we are indeed, as the Kenya School of Government and the entire public servants who are seated here, we are at war with the mediocrity, and therefore then we will build the competency that will ultimately transform the public service of the future. To meet this need, our chief guest, we are establishing the Center for Strategic Foresight and Public Service of the Future, which is clearly under just unveiled new academy, which is referred to as Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga Regional Leadership and Governance Academy, which therefore then will help us to reflect into the future and strengthen the long-term prosperity, policy thinking, and prepare leaders for increasingly complex operating environment. Equally important, our commitment is also to strengthen the relationship between government and the citizen. Through under the 3 Series initiative, recently CS, we started a program referred to as Under the 3 Series initiative, where we are training our public servants at their workstation, also by extension, literally under the trees, so that then we can be able to reach them as many public servants as possible. Today, high policy dialogue on building wealth and global competitiveness is both timely and significant. Sustainable economic growth depends on effective and efficient public institution, sound policy, and also capable leadership. So therefore, as I conclude, the Kenya School of Government will continue to serve as a national thought leader, convener, and partner in equipping leaders with knowledge, skills, and perspective required to drive the Kenya's transformation. Therefore, our chief guest, on behalf of the management, faculty, staff of the Kenya School of Government fraternity, I sincerely thank you for again being a chief guest today and honoring us with your presence. We also express our appreciation to the government of Kenya, our development partners, alumni, as well as also clients whose confidence and collaboration has shaped our journey over the past 100 years. As we begin our next 100 years, our aspiration is to build institutions that not only respond to the future of governance, but also help define it, developing leaders, generating ideas, and strengthening public institutions that will then enable Kenya and Africa continent to thrive in the increasingly competitive world. From our end, once again, I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to Kenya School of Government and wish you well. Thank you and God bless you. It is now my singular honor to now invite our chair of the council, who will then also introduce the council members and make his remarks, and then invite the next guest. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director General. The Honorable Cabinet Secretary for Public Service and Human Capital Development, Honorable Ruku, the Honorable Attorney General, the Honorable Permanent Secretaries, led by the Permanent Secretary, State Department for Public Service, Dr. Imbunya, and all the other principal secretaries who are present. Senior government leaders present. I see the Governor for Kisumu, Professor Anyang'o, and all other senior government leaders who are present, heads of diplomatic missions and international organizations, our development partners, our distinguished guests, and in particular, let me recognize the presence of Dr. Manu Chandaria, and also the presence of Ms. Rosemary Odinga, distinguished guests, graduates, the KSG family, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Cabinet Secretary, it's my distinct honor, first of all, to introduce to you and to those present the members of the Kenya School of Government Council. If they can quickly be upstanding, and I'll just recognize them in 2 minutes. Professor Tarus represents universities. Madam Mirahane is an independent member. Madam Mite is an independent member. Dr. Onsomu represents Kipra. Mr. Wambua represents the Principal Secretary, State Department for Public Service. Dr. Situma represents the Principal Secretary, the State Department for Higher Education. And Mr. Ezekiel Owor is an independent member. Thank you very much, members. Honorable Principal Secretary, on behalf of the Council of the Kenya School of Government, I would like to welcome you to this historic occasion as we celebrate 100 years of an institution whose contribution to Kenya's development has been both enduring and transformative. A centenary celebration is an opportunity to honor those who laid the foundations of this institution, celebrate those who continue to advance its mission, and renew our commitment to future generations. For a century, the Kenya School of Government has evolved alongside our nation, from the early years of public administration through independence, constitutional reform, and devolution. It has remained steadfast in developing leaders, strengthening institutions, and supporting governments to deliver responsive, ethical, and citizen-driven public service. History has consistently shown that nations rise or fall on the strength of their institutions, and for 100 years, this school has been one of Kenya's most strategic national institutions. Honorable Cabinet Secretary, as Kenya pursues inclusive growth, global competitiveness, and sustained wealth creation, our greatest strategic investment remains the capability of our public service. Institutions such as the Kenya School of Government do far more than train public servants. They cultivate ethical leadership, strengthen institutional capacity, generate policy solutions, and prepare leaders capable of navigating an increasingly complex world. The Council is committed to positioning the school as Africa's premier center of excellence for public sector leadership, executive learning, governance research, and policy innovation. In this regard, Honorable Cabinet Secretary, we respectfully request you through His Excellency the President, we request for continued support by directing the implementation of the Cabinet Memorandum Resolution that prioritized performance improvement in service training programs and provided that the training budget for these programs be ring-fenced from budget cuts. Sustained investment in public sector capacity development is indeed a national investment that directly strengthens the governance, service delivery, and economic transformation. As we begin our second century, we do so with confidence, renewed ambition, and a clear sense of purpose. The initiatives unveiled today demonstrate an institution that is embracing innovation while remaining firmly anchored in the values of excellence, integrity, and service to the people. On behalf of the Council, I express our sincere appreciation to the Government of Kenya, our partners, management, faculty, and alumni whose commitment has sustained this institution over the past century. Together, we are building institutions that anticipate change, develop leaders of character and competence, and create a public service that enables Kenya to generate wealth, strengthen competitiveness, and improve the quality of life for every citizen. I thank you all.
Honorable Minister, with your permission, a bit of a change in the program. We would like to accommodate Mzee Manu Jandaria to make a statement. He's a great partner of the school. Then we will play a video about the school, and the choir will sing to us the theme song for this function. We made a bit of adjustment in the program following the changes that have occurred. So we need a microphone from Mzee Manu Jandaria. Microphone from Mzee. And as even we wait for public servants who have worked many years, please always call on KSG to find out if there's any new product that you'd benefit from. There is always something interesting about this place.
Your Excellency the President, led by the CS Public Service, Reverend Ruku, Chandaria Foundation would like that every year we will provide an amount of money which will give 4 prizes for the best student 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Watu wanaotafuta vitambulisho wanaombwa wafike katika afisi za uandikishaji zilizo karibu nao.
Ask not what Kenya has done for you. Rather be disciplined enough to ask yourself what you have done or can do for your community.
Harambee!
For generations, public service has been the thread connecting government and the people. For 100 years, the Kenya School of Government has prepared the leaders behind our nation's progress. The leaders who strengthen institutions, drive national transformation, deliver quality public services, turn policy into action, and through devolution, bringing government services closer to the people. Today, as Kenya invests in modern infrastructure, affordable housing, universal healthcare, food security, digital transformation, and opportunities for its youth, the need for capable, ethical, and visionary leadership has never been greater. The next century will demand leaders who embrace innovation, harness the power of artificial intelligence, and deliver public service that is productive, smarter, faster, and centered on every citizen. As it begins its second century, the Kenya School of Government is positioning itself as Africa's premier institution for public service leadership and a global center of excellence for learning, innovation, and governance. For the last 100 years, the Kenya School of Government has prepared leaders for their time. For the next 100 years, it will prepare leaders for the future. 100 years of public service excellence. The next century begins now.
I'm sorry, Honorable Minister, we now invite the PS Public Service, Dr. Jen Kere Bunya, to lead us in the next section of our PSs.
The room is a bit silent. Let us do this together. Iende mbele na Kenya ye. Iende mbele na Kenya yetu. We are not doing very well. As a teacher, that is 2 out of 10. We can do better. Okay? We are home. Iende mbele na Kenya he. Iende mbele na Kenya yetu. Tuende Tuende mbele na kazi hey. Oh yes. Oh yes. The minister is up. The chief guest is up. Once a teacher, always a teacher, okay? All right, so let's all be happy. We are in Kenya School of Government. Iende mbele na Kenya hey. Iende mbele na Kenya yetu. Tuende mbele na kazi hey. Tuende mbele na kazi Kenya. Ndio maana. Ndio maana. One more time. Tuende mbele na inchi eh. Tuende mbele na Kenya yetu.
Tuende mbele.
Tuende mbele masomo eh.
Tuende mbele.
Tuende mbele masomo Kenya.
Tuende mbele.
Ndio maana.
Ndio maana tunasema iende mbele.
Ndio maana.
Ndio maana tunasema
iende mbele. Thank you so much. We are warm enough. Kabete is cold. Our chief guest, our cabinet secretary for public service, human capital development, and special programs, the Honorable Geoffrey Kiringa Roko, the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, Madam Dorcas Oduor, His Excellency, the Governor of Kisumu County, my fellow PSs present, the KSG Governing Council, Director General of the Kenya School of Government, fellow distinguished leaders, graduates, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Before I proceed, and in total humility, please allow me to recognize and appreciate my fellow PSs present amongst us. And on behalf of all of them, I will invite our senior, Dr. Raymond Omolo, to give a word on their behalf after my remarks. With us present here, we have Dr. Raymond Omolo, the PS in charge of internal security and national administration. Let us appreciate him. We are also honored with the presence of CPA Dr. Aurelia Rono, in charge of parliamentary affairs. Please let's appreciate her. Thank you, Daktari. We are also blessed to have with us Dr. Belio Kipsang, in charge of immigration and citizen services. With us also is Mr. Joseph Motari, in charge of social protection. With us is the PS for basic education, John Ololtua. There is Motari, PS social protection. We also have the presence with us of Canon Reverend Mwadime, the PS in charge of labor. Having blessed us with his presence also is Aden Miller, the PS in charge of maritime. Let's appreciate him. And finally, we have Honorable Senator Wakili Madam Judith Pareno, who is the PS in charge of justice. I'll go further to do it the African way. We have got 6 visiting schools of government from within Africa. I want you to feel at home and feel appreciated. This is Kenya's School of Government, the one and only. We have from Angola, Mr. Osmar Santos, together with Madam Elaine Cravid Obrigado. From Nigeria, we have got Dr. Funky Cravid Oga, feel at home. South Africa, Republic of South Africa, we have Madam Pindile Mwanazi Siabonga. From the Republic of Somalia, we are graced with the presence of Mohammed Said Adad and Abdirahman Abdi Ahmed. Salam alaikum. From Botswana, we have Mr. Kahiso Kitso Kemoeng, Ra Ukhorokhile mo Kenya. And Uganda, we have Professor James Nkantwa. Thank you so much, Professor. This should be the question that is lingering in the minds of all of us gathered here today. What keeps an institution alive for over 100 years and still remains for the next generation? There may be many answers to that question, but the easier one for all of us gathered here today is it is purpose, renewal, people with immense hunger for knowledge, as well as the competency and enhancement of skills needed in this rapidly evolving 21st century and beyond. Our chief guest, our minister, your presence with us here today affirms a future-ready public service as central to Kenya's progress. This is fortified in excellent competencies and outstanding skills. The famous educator, Peter Drucker, who was an Austrian-born American, once said the following: "The best way to predict the future is to create it today." As we celebrate 100 years of KSG today, we are not simply admiring history, we are commissioning KSG for its next journey into yet another century. Let's go back into the books of history. From its early Kabete roots, KSG has become a cradle of leadership and nation building. Like a great tree, its roots remember its pioneers. Its branches shelter today's leaders, and its new growth carries tomorrow's promise. As the PS responsible for public service and human capital development in the Republic of Kenya, I affectionately say KSG is like one of my children. Therefore, as a good mother, I must nurture it, correct it, defend it, and help it contribute to Kenya, Africa, and the world at large. Our chief guest, a mother, never stops checking whether her child has done the homework. Hence today, my child called KSG, your homework is clear. As we mark 100 years, produce competent, ethical, innovative, confident, and citizen-centered leaders. To our more than 1,000 graduates of today, from deep my heart, I say congratulations. But remember, I say this not only as a PS, but as a lifelong educator shaped by classrooms, campuses, and graduates like you. So I know and understand the sacrifice behind each certificate that shall be awarded today. But dear graduates, hear me when I say, I am here to remind you the following. Education is not a medal we simply pin to the chest. It is a lamp we carry into dark rooms so that others may see a way forward. Therefore, graduates, on this momentous day, as KSG marks its century of existence, remember that you live with public trust to turn the knowledge you have gained here into service, and that service into impact, and the impact into hope. To the pioneers of this school, the Governing Council, under the stewardship of the Director General, fellow faculty, staff, alumni, and partners of KSG, accept my appreciation for making KSG what it is today and setting it on a pedestal for what it should be tomorrow. To my stellar ministry and State Department colleagues, thank you for your commitment. Chief Guest, thank you for steering this ministry towards transformation and delivery, and for always reminding us that public servants must not merely move files from one desk to the other. We must lift lives, lift communities, and lift Kenya higher. This has been demonstrated by the early visits the minister has made to all the public offices in Kenya, regardless of their geographical locations and situations. I cannot fail to thank God, whose grace enhances what is built by our human hands. A century is behind us, the future is ahead. Thank you, God bless you all, and may God continue to bless our beautiful nation of Kenya. With great honor, I now invite our esteemed Principal Secretary for Internal Security and National Administration, my senior and my mentor, Dr. Raymond Omolo, to address us.
Thank you, PS Daktari Mbunya. Our chief guest, the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, the Honorable Geoffrey Ruku, the Attorney General, Dorcas Oduor, the Governor of Kisumu, Professor Anyang' Nyong'o. I'm trying to look around. Okay. My PS colleagues, who have already been introduced, the Inspector General of Police, the Deputy Inspector General of Police, the DCI, the regional commissioners, members of the diplomatic corps, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning once again. Chief Guest, allow me to just ask that we appreciate the Inspector General of Police and his team in a special way. The IG, please just be upstanding so that we can appreciate you. Thank you. Then we have 8 regional commissioners. I would just ask that they be upstanding so that we also get to appreciate them. So, Chief Guest, today's ceremony is taking place in a historic year for the Kenya School of Government. And just like the previous speakers have spoken, the chair of the KSG, the DG, that KSG is marking 100 years of service. And for a century, it has shaped generations of public administrators and strengthened the capacity of government institutions. Actually, all of us, or majority of us seated here today, have had an opportunity to benefit from this institution. And it's fitting that during this centenary year, we are graduating and inducting officers who will carry forward the next chapter of public administration. KSG has indeed been instrumental in nurturing the work of national government administration officers, which now has over 18,000 officers spread across the country, and one of the strongest tools government has for coordination, peace, security, and service delivery at the grassroots level. And today's ceremony is a major milestone for these national government administration officers, because we have a cohort that is graduating today that you will preside over as the chief guest, cabinet secretary. Now, we are celebrating 483 assistant county commissioners who have completed the diploma in public administration, and another 530 deputy county commissioners who have concluded an induction program that began last week, and I had the honor to officiate at the opening of that induction program. Now, this training builds on more than 800 officers that have already undertaken the diploma in public administration in the last 1 year. Now, this training also directly supports major work that is being undertaken by the State Department for Public Service, that for a very long time, a number of our officers could not be promoted to the next level on account of having not undertaken the training in public administration. And therefore, it speaks to how crucial the Kenya School of Government is in terms of helping us with the career development and advancement of our officers. Chief Guest, because today is not my day, just 2 quick comments before I take back my seat and invite you to make your speech and also preside over the graduation ceremony, is that this ceremony is part of a wider context of government's effort to strengthen its presence at the grassroots. Since 2002, we have been able to operationalize close to 2,000 administrative units and 5 Huduma centers, including 74 sub-counties, 152 divisions, 688 locations, and 897 sub-locations. This training similarly speaks to the greater objective of enhancing coordination of government administration services at the local level and in line with the better transformation agenda, which is an extension of the security sector institutional reforms that we continue to undertake. Earlier in the day, when the DG was conducting you through the initial part of the program, he mentioned about some of the transformative programs that they've been able to come up with as a Kenya School of Government. And one of those programs is the Under the Tree series, which involves training of our field officers, our chiefs, our assistant chiefs, as well as our police officers, just as a way of equipping these officers who are part of the last mile delivery of government services to better support and serve our citizenry across the Republic. I'm looking forward to many more years of celebrating the excellence, performance, and achievement by the Kenya School of Government. And let me also take this opportunity to congratulate all the graduates that will be graduating today as part of celebrating 100 years of the Kenya School of Government. Chief guest, before you come up, I was looking for the Honorable Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, the governor for Kisumu. Professor, I know we have a panel discussion coming up, but I wanted to invite you for just a minute to say something before I come and invite the chief guest. Let's give him a big round of applause as he comes here.
My apologies, Raymond. You know, I come from a very hot weather around the lake, or warm. So when we come to one where we're in the North Pole, there is some physiological movements that we must make. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Raymond. I will make a few remarks before we have our panel later this morning. But I thought that the remarks I'm going to make are relevant to the discussions we're going to have today. Before I do so, let me recognize my Mzee Nyandaria, who is here. Karibu Mzee. Cabinet Secretaries, Principal Secretaries, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors, distinguished fellows, Kenyans who are here today, ladies and gentlemen. In November 2025, the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency William Samoei Arap Ruto, announced an elaborate long-term investment program in infrastructure that would ensure that Kenya will make the transition from its current status as a low middle-income country to a first world country within the next generation. In January 2026, His Excellency the President announced to the nation that he would request me to take leadership in the preparation of a national development strategy whose implementation results in the transformation of Kenya into a modern state whose citizens enjoy standards of living comparable to those prevalent in the developed countries today. Subsequent to that announcement, I put together a small team of experts to help prepare that strategy. My reflections here today, this morning, highlight some of the ideas in our report to be presented to His Excellency the President very soon. Let me begin by quoting Lee Kuan Yew, former Prime Minister of Singapore, on the important question of the nature of the state that will deliver long-term development and prosperity to the people. Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew said the following, and I quote, "What counts in public service? First, integrity. And if we can keep an honest, competent government, never mind it being brilliant, that is a tremendous achievement." Ladies and gentlemen, Kenya stands at an important historical moment as a country approaches the conclusion of Vision 2030 and begins to chart a new long-term development pathway as requested for Kenya by the President. To meet this goal, ladies and gentlemen, it is both necessary and useful to reflect on the experience that have shaped our development journey over the last 2 decades. A key lesson in this journey is that nations do not become prosperous by accident. They become prosperous because they learn from their successes and failures, build institutions capable of sustaining progress, and develop a shared national purpose and ideal that survives changes in political leadership. His Excellency the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, has underlined the urgency to move the Republic of Kenya from the status of a lower middle-income country to that of a developed first world nation. This is an enormous task. It requires high-level political leadership, commitment at all levels of government, and a deepening of governance reforms, including restructuring the public service. It requires focused attention to policy economic sectors, led by manufacturing to promote industrialization. This also requires, above all, embedding integrity, ethical behavior, and rule of law as key values in everyday life by all citizens. This is a task that will require meaningful participation of citizens at every stage in order to build a future aligned to their aspirations of a high quality of life. We must be encouraged and focused on the goals set by His Excellency the President, because this transformation has precedence. It took the early industrializing countries such as Britain, Germany, and France an estimated 70 to 90 years to complete the transition from agrarian to industrialized society. However, it has taken half that time, 30 to 40 years, for the East Asian newly industrialized countries to complete their transition from poor rural to urban industrial first world standards. South Korea, Japan, and China, as well as several Southeast Asia countries, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Vietnam, have taken fewer years to transform their societies than many countries in Europe. Without exception, countries such as South Korea and China, as well as those in Southeast Asia, were able to transform their economies by focusing on priority sectors and sequencing interventions. They began by undertaking land reforms, recognizing land as a critical asset for households. This was followed by policies aimed at increasing agricultural productivity. The gains made in agricultural productivity supported industrialization and, in many cases, agro-processing. As labor gradually migrated into urban areas, governments focused on industrialization and housing to support urban consumer demand for manufactured items and decent shelter housing. Finally, financing for development was prioritized, with state support directed toward industries on condition that they produced competitive goods for exports. Competitive goods for exports. The transformation of East and Southeast Asian economies was underpinned by several enabling conditions. First was a strong commitment by the political leadership to long-term development. Political elites prioritized productivity and growth over short-term gains, providing strategic direction and continuity in policy. Second was bureaucratic capability. State institutions were effective, coordinated, and focused on implementation. Capacity was concentrated in strategic sectors, and the public service was organized to deliver results. Government also mobilized the private sector and aligned financial systems with development objectives. Third, Development planning and implementation were coordinated to ensure coherence and consistency. Centralized coordination mechanisms enabled governments to maintain focus on priority sectors and monitor progress effectively. Fourth, there was significant investment in infrastructure, roads, energy, water, and irrigation as a foundation for productivity and growth. Public investment supported both rural and urban development, including infrastructure for agriculture, industry, and expanding cities. Another important feature of successful transformation was the deliberate focus on the rural economy. Public investment was directed toward the majority of the population engaged in agriculture, rather than being concentrated primarily in urban areas or capital-intensive sectors. This broad-based approach ensured that growth was inclusive and generated strong domestic demand. In contrast, development strategies that favored urban consumption or narrow sectors without strengthening rural productivity often resulted in uneven and unsustained growth. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, Kenya has had a remarkable past in terms of economic growth. In the 1960s and 1970s, Kenya outperformed many countries in sub-Saharan Africa and was indeed performing better, above the region's average. During this period, Western development partners and scholars applauded Kenya as a success story. They singled out Kenya as a country that other African countries could emulate, given its political stability, economic growth, and agricultural development, especially its export of agricultural produce. The proposal by His Excellency President Ruto to fast-track Kenya's transformation to first world status could therefore be realized in the lifetime of many Kenyans living here today. This is possible as long as top-notch thinking, planning, and policy implementation are prioritized to prevent the many false starts witnessed in Kenya before. Ladies and gentlemen, here are a few lessons that we have learned so far as a country, which will be vital in the preparation of the next long-term development vision as a successor to the Vision 2030 that is currently running its final course with a bottom-up transformation agenda in the medium term. The implementation of Vision 2030 and, more recently, bottom-up economic transformation agenda offers important lessons for the design of Kenya's vision to become a first-world nation. This first lesson is that development planning cannot assume a stable and predictable global environment. Vision 2030 was conceived during a period of expanding globalization, increasing international trade, growing foreign direct investment, and relatively strong donor support. However, implementation occurred during a period marked by the global financial crisis, climate shocks, the COVID-19 pandemic, geopolitical conflicts, and supply chain disruptions. It was implemented in a context marked by rising protectionism and growing uncertainty in the global economy. Recent global developments suggest that the world is transitioning from an era of hyper-globalization to one characterized by geopolitical fragmentation, economic nationalism, and security-driven development policies everywhere. The next development vision to move Kenya to the first world, therefore, should be designed for a more uncertain and competitive global environment. Adaptability will be a central policy word in the journey to the first world. The second lesson is that long-term visions require policy continuity, consistency, and institutional stability. Development transformation occurs over decades rather than within electoral cycles. The next long-term vision should be anchored in law and supported by institutions capable of sustaining implementation across successive administrations. Political transition should not result in the abandonment of national development priorities or be disrupted by political cycles. Vision 2030, and more so, the bottom-up approach, has successfully expanded infrastructure, ICT, education, health services, and evolution. But manufacturing remains below target and not extensive enough to create productive jobs. Future planning should therefore focus on building productive sectors capable of generating higher value employment, increasing exports, strengthening domestic value chains, and improving competitiveness. The third lesson concerns the importance of state capability and institutional effectiveness. The implementation experience from Vision 2030 and better shows that ambitious plans succeed only when supported by capable institutions, that is government effectiveness, strong coordination mechanisms, qualified personnel, and robust systems of monitoring and accountability. Weak project preparation, delays in implementation, inadequate coordination, and corruption have often slowed delivery of development programs. Future development planning must therefore place greater emphasis on strengthening state capacity and comprehensive public sector reforms to support implementation. The fourth lesson is that public participation and societal ownership are essential for successful implementation of long-term development strategies. Better introduced an important innovation through extensive consultation across all 47 counties and among key stakeholder groups. This experience demonstrates that citizens are more likely to support development programs when they participate in identifying priorities and understand the benefits of proposed reforms. Future development planning should therefore institutionalize meaningful stakeholder engagement, civic education, and citizen participation throughout the project cycle. The fifth lesson is that development planning in a developed system requires strong coordination between in a devolved system requires strong coordination between national and county governments. Many of the functions that determine citizen quality of life, including agriculture, health, urban development, water, and local infrastructure, are either devolved or shared responsibilities. Effective implementation therefore depends on aligning national priorities, county plans, budgeting processes, and performance management systems. Future development strategies should strengthen mechanisms for intergovernmental coordination and ensure that counties are fully integrated into implementation. Finally, the changing global environment presents both risks and opportunities for Kenya. Africa is no longer simply a latecomer seeking entry into global markets. It is increasingly becoming a strategic player in a multipolar world because of its critical minerals, renewable energy potential, growing population, and expanding regional markets. In this new environment, success will depend not only on participation in global value chains, but also on the ability to negotiate favorable terms, build domestic capabilities, meet international standards, strengthen resilience, and leverage strategic assets. The lesson of Kenya's post-2030 vision is that development should be strategically positioning the country within a rapidly changing global political and economic order. Taken together, this lesson suggests that the post-2030 vision should move towards productive transformation, institutional effectiveness, fiscal sustainability, and technological innovation. These will position Kenya strategically within an increasingly fragmented and competitive global economy. This will enable the transition to the first world. The key pillars for our transformation remains enhanced agricultural productivity and agro-processing, industrialization through intensive manufacturing for regional exports, as well as technology and innovation. These must be supported by integrity in governance and stable effectiveness, human capital development, and social well-being of our people, as well as large-scale infrastructure and connectivity. We must not forget that we are a country practicing devolution in the context of rapid urbanization. Deliberate effort must be made to strengthen county governments and address rapid urbanization. Further, will require supportive financial systems and maintain focus on environmental sustainability, climate resilience, and natural capital. Only then will we be able to attain global competitiveness and form strategic partnerships going forward. Peace, security, social cohesion, and a strong national identity will be among the dividends of national development in the medium and long term. In terms of the legal and institutional framework for realization of these goals, Kenya needs a national development law and an reinvigorated and strengthened National Economic and Social Council, NESC, supported by an independent delivery secretariat. But we must be careful to answer the question, what kind of National Economic and Social Council is fit for purpose in our circumstances? Let me repeat, what kind of National Economic and Social Council is fit for purpose in our circumstances? Ladies and gentlemen, we have answered that question and other questions in our detailed report to His Excellency, the President. I thank you all.
Let's give Professor a big round of applause. Chief guest, I think having listened to Professor, everybody in this room deserves to graduate today. He's highlighted a lot of important things which we feel is important, particularly for the graduates who are the anchors of government on the ground to appreciate, and also shared with us a bit of the background or what is expected for us to move to a first world status. With that, Chief Guest, we have the KSG Choir. I want to invite them on stage to do one item, and as they finish, I will not come back on stage. You will take up the stage and do the rest of the program, and you will guide us on the next steps. After the graduation, we will have the panel discussion, and the Master of Ceremony will be able to guide us through. Once again, let's give all the speakers a big round of applause. Welcome, KSG Choir.
mbingu nayo nchi kutujalia afya bora. Asante Mungu Baba,
twakushukuru Mungu Baba Mwenyezi,
muumba mbingu nayo nchi kutujalia afya bora. Asante Mungu Baba. Miaka 100 sasa twasherehekea siku ya leo. Hongera Kenya School of Government. Miaka 100 sasa twasherehekea siku ya leo. Hongera Kenya School of Government. Mwaka 1924 shule yetu kaanzishwa chini ya mbeberu Yesu, kuwafundisha wakufunzi mashinani. Lengo lake mwanzilishi ni kuwafunza wakufunzi wa walimu mashinani kwa taasisi zetu. Lengo lake mwanzilishi ni kuwafunza wakufunzi wa walimu mashinani kwa taasisi zetu.
mwaka 1961
mageuzi tukapata, mageuzi ya shule yetu, Kenya Institute of Administration. Lengo lake ni kuwafunza wafanyakazi wa umma na kuboresha utendakazi wa utumishi wa umma. Lengo lake ni kuwafunza wafanyakazi wa umma na kuboresha utendakazi wa utumishi wa umma.
mwaka 2012
Shule yetu kabadili shule ya serikali ya Kenya. Hongera Kenya School of Government. Miaka 100 sasa twasherehekea siku ya leo. Hongera Kenya School of Government. Miaka 100 sasa twasherehekea siku ya leo. Hongera Kenya School of Government. Mafanikio mengi sana shule yetu kafikia, na kuboresha huduma za umma kwa taasisi zetu mpya. Mafanikio
wa usalama. Taasisi ya jinsia, maendeleo ya jamii. Taasisi yetu ya masomo ya ugatuzi. Tunashuhudia maendeleo ya ugatuzi. Nyumba za bei nafuu zinajengwa kote Kenya. Tunauboresha utendakazi wa taifa.
But PS, before you come to the podium, but CS, we wish to recognize representatives from diplomatic missions who are here, so that you address us when you are aware of who is here. Among people present at this ceremony are representatives from 32 diplomatic missions, represented here as follows: the High Commission of the Republic of Mozambique, the Consulate of the Republic of Cameroon, the Federal Republic of Somalia, the Republic of South Sudan, the Embassy of the Republic of Congo, Sierra Leone High Commission, the Republic of Zimbabwe, the High Commission of the Republic of Botswana, the Embassy of France, the Embassy of Italy, the Embassy of the Republic of the Philippines, the Embassy of the Republic of Senegal, the Embassy of Ethiopia, you have the Embassy of the Republic of Angola, the Embassy of the Republic of the Congo, the High Commission, the Nigerian High Commission, the Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia, the Embassy of the Republic of Cuba, the South African High Commission, the Royal Thai Embassy, the Bangladesh High Commission, the Embassy of the State of Palestine, the Embassy of the Federal Republic of Brazil, Malawi High Commission, the Embassy of Sahrawi, the Embassy of the Republic of Azerbaijan, the Zambian High Commission, the Embassy of Eritrea, the Embassy of the Costa Rica, the Embassy of the People's Republic of China, the Embassy of the Republic of Burundi, and the High Commission of Uganda. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All the guests present, the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency the Governor of Kisumu, Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, the PS is present, the security agencies led by the Inspector General of Police and the Deputy Inspector General of Police, the DCI, and Brother Amini, the regional commissioners who are here, Dr. Man Chandaria, a man who has been very philanthropic to the people of Kenya, Rosemary Odinga, the Excellencies, High Commissioners and Ambassadors who are present, the representatives of the United Nations, the management of Kenya School of Government, led by the chairman of Kenya School of Government Council, retired Justice Charles Nyachae, the Director General of Kenya School of Government, Professor Nura Mohammed, senior government officials who are here, the CEOs of different parastatals and CEOs in private sector present, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Kenyans, good morning. And all the graduates, good morning. Good morning. And I understand one of the graduates today is the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya. I must start by saying thank you to the management of Kenya School of Government for the job you are doing here and for organizing this very important and colorful event to celebrate 100 years of existence of Kenya School of Government. I am delighted to join the country today as we celebrate the century of Kenya School of Government existence. The institution's tremendous contribution and value addition to Kenya's national development, human capital development, and career progression are an enduring journey that we need to celebrate today. Let me therefore take this very opportunity to congratulate the staff, the pioneers, the alumni, and stakeholders of the school on this very momentous occasion. As a cabinet secretary responsible for the school, I am immensely delighted at this incredible milestone. To the school council, management, and the entire faculty and staff members, well done for making Kenya School of Government a premier institution on the continent and beyond. I know Kenya School of Government has entered into quite a number of memorandum of understanding, MOUs, with different schools, government schools in different parts of the world. Fellow Kenyans, the public service remains one of the most important instrument through which government translates vision into reality and promises into tangible outcomes for citizens. And that has been clearly outlined by Professor Nyang' Nyang' in his remarks. It plays a fundamental, it plays a very foundational role in shaping governance, development, and the well-being of citizens. It also plays a very pivotal role in service delivery and citizen welfare. It is therefore that through public institutions that citizens access education, healthcare, infrastructure, social protection, and justice. A professional and efficient public service ensures that no one is left behind. Fellow Kenyans, over the past century, Kenya School of Government has equipped generations of public servants with the knowledge, skills, values, and leadership needed to serve Kenyans with professionalism, integrity, and dedication. And at this junction, I want to call all the public servants in the Republic of Kenya, Article 10 of our Constitution and Article 232 of our Constitution, the values and principles of governance, as well as the values and principles of public service. That we have to familiarize ourselves with the intent and letter of our Constitution as far as Article 10 and Article 232 of our Constitution is concerned. And the President of the Republic of Kenya has given a presidential directive that the Ministry of the Public Service must ensure that these two articles of the Constitution are engraved within the public service. Therefore, Kenya School of Government will play a very critical role in ensuring that this presidential directive is adhered to, and not only Kenya School of Government, but also quite a number of institutions which we are going to work with closely to ensure the presidential directive is adhered to as far as engraving Article 10 of our Constitution and Article 232 of our Constitution within Kenya's public service. Indeed, the nature and the character of the services offered by the public service largely depend on the quality of training, quality of research, and the quality of consultancy services that the school offers. I must reiterate that the success of any government agenda depends on the capacity of the public service. Policies and programs can only transform lives when implemented by competent, by ethical, and by very innovative public servants. Even as we celebrate the 100th or century anniversary of the Kenya School of Government today, I must tell Kenyans that I'm very disappointed by some public servants, particularly a proportion of human resource management officers in public service who, without mercy, without dignity, and without integrity, decided to conduct fraudulent activities on the nation payrolls. This is very serious. This is indeed very serious. The ministry has conducted a payroll audit, and we have clear results, evidence, and tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m., we'll be addressing the nation as far as the payroll of our nation is concerned, and as far as the steps which we are going to take. Contrary to the remarkable teachings and training that this institution provides, I say to you right here, and to all Kenyans who deserve just and judicious leadership, that we will not forgive those who manipulated the payroll system and confined to roots from citizens billions of shillings through irregular and unlawful payments on the human resource information system. We will mercilessly punish them under the law and our constitution, which they violated and mutilated in its spirit and letter. So I'm calling upon the Director Charge of DCI that from tomorrow, 2 p.m., let's work together to bring justice to the taxpayers of the Republic of Kenya, because we can't collect money through KRA, then fail to use that money prudently, because we have some officers, some government officers abandoned within the human resource information system and collude on routing money in the name of allowances, emoluments, and salaries, double payments of salaries, double payment of arrears, not remitting the statutory deductions, and others not remitting statutory deductions because they claim that they are exempted by KRA, whereas they are not exempted by KRA, and many other abandoned, especially in the National Police Service. People going for some police officers interdicted, but that salary is going to a certain account, and we have evidence as far as that is concerned. We will deal with that, and we have a cabinet directive. The President of Kenya has directed that we have to deal with this issue once and for all, and tomorrow we will exactly do that. So tomorrow afternoon, as a ministry, we will address the nation to give direction on the immediate and long-term measures we will undertake to punish, tame, impede all the criminal and fraudulent activities on the government payroll. We will be intolerant and repulsive to any form of injustice and criminality in the payroll system. Fellow Kenyans, to this end, the ministry remains firmly committed to investing in human capital, development, and continuous improvement of public services. Through Kenya School of Government, we are continuously building a public service that is agile, that is digitally enabled, and that is accountable and responsive to the needs of citizens. As the school implements government policy directions, it commits to being a strategic national institution, preparing leaders capable of driving reforms, improving service delivery, strengthening governance, and ensuring value for public resources. In the years to come, the Kenyan public service, and indeed our democracy, will increasingly depend on our ability to walk the tightrope of being transparent and responsive to the needs of the people we serve. In this regard, the public service has no option but to adopt a transformation to inculcate a new ethos and approach in the way we manage public affairs. The school will continue to play the role of continually adapting and adopting its programs and product to emerging public service trends. Fellow Kenyans, as we celebrate this historical milestone, we also renew our commitment to continuous learning, continuous improvement, and continuous transformation, because an effective and efficient public service is the foundation of a prosperous nation. Allow me to congratulate the chairperson of the council and the director general, management and the staff, as well as alumni and all stakeholders who have contributed to this very remarkable journey. Notably, the school has also expanded to the Lake Region economic bloc, Kisumu and the Vihiga counties, to build the capacity of government institutions to meet the elevated expectation of citizens, signifying progress towards improving Kenya's future economic and social condition. These initiatives will not only enhance cost efficiency in capacity building, but also address unique leadership and performance challenges at the county levels. I know we are building Ropotouko School of Government, a campus for Kenya School of Government in Kisumu. We also have, and we have 200 million Kenyan shilling to this end, and this is a very encouraging step in that direction. We also have Matuga in Mombasa. We also have Baringo campus. We also have Embu. Therefore, this is the right direction to take in terms of taking the training within different regions of the Republic of Kenya. Fellow Kenyans, as I conclude, I urge public servants to be innovative, progressive, and ethical in their dispensation of citizen-centric services. We have Kenya School of Government AI Laboratory, and Cabinet last week discussed on what the opportunities and the risk we have as far as artificial intelligence is concerned. And it was noted by the Cabinet that the government of Kenya, through Kenya School of Government, as artificial intelligence laboratory, and we urge all the public servants to take advantage of this very well-equipped lab within Kenya School of Government, so that all public servants in the Republic of Kenya can understand the opportunities presented by the artificial intelligence technologies, as well as the risk which we are facing. And other nations are moving at a very high speed, and we need Kenya to be the leader of artificial intelligence in Africa. And therefore, I call upon all public servants in the Republic of Kenya to take advantage of the artificial intelligence laboratory, which is based here at Kenya School of Government. The appetite for fraud must cease to exist. There is no point of ruining your hand and money, and career, and reputation by serving for public resources. I come in peace, but with the law and enforcers sharper than a laser cutter, Kenyans are impatient when it comes to injustice, and we will match the impatience with decisiveness in dealing with the fraudsters. This will demonstrate very soon. Happy 100th anniversary to the Kenya School of Government. I thank you all. May God bless all of you. May God bless the Republic of Kenya. And may God bless the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency William Samoei Ruto. With those many remarks, I want to say also congratulations to all those who are graduating today. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki. Thank you.
Let's appreciate our guest of honor. And you've had a warning from him, and I saw the chairman of the Public Service Commission shaking his head. First was fake certificates. Now is the case of cost workers. Condemned is that public servant who converts public resources into personal use. For your family is condemned forever. It's a curse upon your family as a public servant to steal public resources and pretend you are an investor in your own property, the education of your children. You're leaving a permanent curse on your children. Our chief guest, as we transit into the graduation phase of this program, I'm reminded that when I was reading out the 32 names, I omitted the 2 embassies. We have the ambassador of the French government. We have also the ambassador of the Italian government. There'll be participants in our panel discussion soon after the graduation. But I'm just reminded that when I was talking about the 32, I inadvertently left out the names. I now wish to invite the Director General. I am told it's changed. You know, the Kisumu governor is also partially my governor. But your DG, it must be you now here to come and invite him. I'll be asking that as DG makes the statement here, all of us, as he invites our guest for this particular session, you'll be asked to be upstanding because then is the formal practice during graduation ceremonies. DG Karibu. Ladies and gentlemen, be upstanding so that the Director General, Kenya School of Government, Professor Nura Mohammed, can constitute this congregation.
Thank you so much. In accordance with the provision of the Kenya School of Government, Learning and Development Policy and Procedures, our chief guest, I declare this congregation officially constituted. Thank you.
While remaining in that state, I will now invite the Senior Director Academic Affairs to move forward, and the rest of us be seated.
Chief guest, awards will now be conferred to the graduates in Diploma in Public Administration who studied at the Kenya School of Government under cohort 10. Honorable Cabinet Secretary, with your permission, I will proceed to first present the 477 deputy county commissioners and undersecretaries who successfully completed the induction program for deputy county commissioners and undersecretaries at the Kenya School of Government. I would like request that the 477 county commissioners and undersecretaries be upstanding so that we recognize you. Let's give them a hand of applause. Congratulations on your great achievement. You may be seated. I also wish to recognize the 44 participants who have graduated in the leadership program for national transformation, among whom is our Attorney General. May you be upstanding. Let's applaud them. Congratulations. There is another special team that has graduated with the recognition of prior learning. These are Kenya School of Government staff who have been working here diligently. As we celebrate 100 years, we want to celebrate them by recognizing them. They are 192. Can you be upstanding so that we recognize you? They are there at the back. Let's celebrate them. Congratulations. Chief guest, I will now present, with your permission, the graduates who are going to receive diplomas in public administration. I confirm that the following 432 graduates have satisfied the Academic Board of the Kenya School of Government for the award of diploma in public administration. Honorable Cabinet Secretary, I humbly request if you could come forward to award the diploma in public administration. May all the 432 graduates in diploma in public administration be upstanding.
Acting on powers conferred by the Kenya School of Government Act and the Kenya School of Government Running and Development Policy and Procedures, and having certified the academic board in all subjects for which you are enrolled, trained, and examined, it gives me great pleasure to award you diploma in public administration of the Kenya School of Government. Pongezi.
Let's celebrate them better than that. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. We now shift to conferment of merit awards. Chief guest, awards will now be presented to the participant who achieved an outstanding performance in the Diploma in Public Administration program of study within the cohort 10 that is graduating today. I would like to invite the Director in charge of Learning and Development, FCPA Andrew Rory, to come forward and assist in handing over the merit award. FCPA. Chief guest, I humbly request once again that you come forward and award the certificate, the merit award to the outstanding candidate.
In recognition of your outstanding performance, on behalf...
Sorry. Allow me to call the name of the outstanding candidate. Sorry for that omission. Vitalis Okuku Ogor.
In recognition of your outstanding performance on behalf of Kenya School of Government and on my own behalf, I present you with the Kenya School of Government Medal.
Thank you very much, Honorable Cabinet Secretary. You may resume your seat. And now we transition to another short session in this program, and that is charging the graduates. Can we have the charge on the screen? Can all the graduates in Diploma in Public Administration be upstanding? Let's have the charge on the screen, please. On behalf of Kenya School of Government, management and staff, I wish to congratulate you all on your great achievement. As we emphasized during the course of your training, remember that Kenya citizenry aspire for a public service that dissipates and fulfills its responsibilities with a lot of efficiency. A public service that is agile and that is accountable, one that is adjudged to uphold high levels of integrity and an impeccable character. As I commission you back to the service upon completion of your Diploma in Public Administration, I am confident that you are well equipped to exemplify a transformative character identifiable with the values and principles of public service, and one that brings honor to this great nation of Kenya. And now, my charge to you. Please read 1 to 6 in unison. Let's start. I shall uphold. Let's start. Let's take that again. Let's take that again, please. Let's start. I shall uphold. I didn't hear the last one. Thank you very much. Congratulations once again, and God bless you.
Guest of honor, we come to the point of dissolving this congregation, but it'll be a bit different from the normal ones. As soon as the Director General dissolves this congregation, we will request that you remain seated so that the panelists can come. We will have saved on time. So I invite the Director General, Kenya School of Government, to lead us in the dissolution of the congregation.
This is part of the procedure. So, in accordance with the provision of the Learning and Development Policy and Procedures, I declare this congregation officially dissolved. Thank you.
Now we made an adjustment in the program we had. Remember, before the graduation, we ought to have had a panel discussion, and we are lucky that our panelists are here for that. We have a team getting seats for them. We have a panel discussion after presentation by Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, the Governor, Kisumu County. And then we will then have panelists, His Excellency, the Ambassador of China to Kenya, Professor John Seok Baek from South Korea, His Excellency, the French Ambassador to Kenya, His Excellency, the Italian Ambassador to Kenya, and His Excellency, the Azerbaijan Ambassador to Kenya. They will be coming here after our professor's presentation, and we will be looking at this high policy dialogue on economic prosperity and constructive engagement. Is about what Professor has tried to talk about. It was supposed to be moderated. It was supposed to be moderated by His Excellency, but they will make presentations that we will allow the audience to raise issues with them. So, General Mandela, are we ready? I'm informed former PS Treasury and National Planning, Dr. Julius Muya. I also was privileged to have worked with them at the Secretariat of Vision 2030, will be moderating that session. PS Muya, I invite you now to take over.
Honorable Chief Guest, as you have been told, my name is Dr. Julius Muya, former PS National Treasury, and I want to take us through the next session, and you'll allow me to use the existing protocols so that I can save time. I can see AG and PSS. I can see my former boss, Manu Chandaria, who was the council member in the National Economic and Social Council, where I was the CEO. Professor Michael Chege is coming up. Prof is one of the panelists. Professor Michael Chege was also one of my bosses in the National Economic and Social Council, where we were crafting Vision 2030. My other boss is here, Professor Anyang Nyong. He was also one of my bosses in the National Economic and Social Council. So allow me also to invite honorable ambassadors who have already been mentioned so that they can join us here in the podium. And so allow me, Your Excellency, to invite Madam Guo Ayan, Ambassador of China to Kenya. We have enough space for that? Yeah. Your Excellency, please. Can we clap for her, please? And then as she's walking up, let's also invite Prof. Jeon Seok. This is Ambassador of France to Kenya. Thank you. And then we also have, oh, that is South Korea, I beg your pardon. Yeah. Yes. Hello, sir. Right. So the ambassador of France to Kenya is Arnaud Sikwet. And then we have got Vincenzo del Monaco, ambassador of Italy to Kenya. Ambassador of Italy. Very good. And there's no chair. Can we have another chair? Can we have 2 more chairs? We are quite a number. Actually, even I will also need to sit down. Yeah, the more the merrier, right? So let's have more chairs so that we can all have this forum. We are also having a representative from Singapore. He will join us when there's a chair. Do we have the ambassador of Azerbaijan coming through? We are short of chairs. I think we have a problem of chairs here. Okay, sir. Yeah. I'll tell you, yeah. I'll give you less time because you're a better chair. Okay, so I think we're waiting for the representative from Singapore. How are you, sir? Good. Okay, I think I've got my panelists here with me. I will need a chair, so put it somewhere. Now we have about 55 minutes. And that journey to first world, those of us who have done a bit of looking at how developed countries behave, what happens, is they keep time. Chief guest, you'll allow me to be a little bit strict. Developed countries, first world countries keep what? They keep time. So we have 55 minutes between us and lunch. And so you'll allow me, good people and friends, to be a little bit strict with time so that we can make best use of our time. So Professor Anyang Nyong, thank you very much for starting us off very well and telling us a bit of truth about what we should do. And especially as we are looking at the successor of Vision 2030 and how we should be positioning ourselves as a country. And so building on what Prof. you did share with us, I want to encourage us and the panelists who are here to build on what Prof. You did share with us, and I also want to recognize what PS Public Service you shared about Drucker, that if you want to predict the future, the best way of predicting is to shape it yourself. You create it. So let's see how we can create the future for Kenya. And Prof, do you want to say something for 2 or 3 minutes that perhaps you think, having made that long presentation, you need just to tie up what you said? Then I will open the discussions to Professor Michael Chege. Then after Professor Michael Chege, I will go to this good man, Julius. He shares my name, Julius Kipkonotich. And then I will go to the ambassadors. So, Prof, 2 or 3 minutes of summary about what you said, something that you wanted to emphasize on, and then after that we go to Professor Michael Chege. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you very much. I just want to say 2 things. One, that we don't meet to talk just for the sake of talking. We meet to talk because we have an objective. A, to understand the problem we are looking at, and after understanding it, to create a path for solving that problem. That's one. Secondly, time is of the essence. We don't have much time to prepare for the future. So let us make sure that we take into account time. When we were doing Vision 2030, some people thought that 2030 may never arrive, but it's only 4 years away from today. So we must now create a vision for the future after fulfilling what we could fulfill under Vision 2030 in the interest of Kenyans, to solve their problems, to promise them a better future, a better life for their kids and themselves and future generations, and to ensure that we are a competitive nation in global politics and global economies. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Shall we clap for Prof in his usual style? He has emphasized how we should be very clear in terms of what we do next. And I want us to go to the gentleman on his right, Professor Michael Chege, about what we should do so that we live by what we are doing, and also make sure that we are able to move to this first world status in an orderly way. And of course, you are building on what Prof has shared. And please, if you can also talk a lot about preconditions for takeoff, about 5 minutes max. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Julius. I think it's a continuation of those days when you're working on Vision 2030. And I thank the organizers very much for asking us to be here. Professor Anyang' Nyong'o and I once taught a course in University of Nairobi, which actually dealt with those issues on political economy of industrialization and agriculture in Africa. One of the things we emphasize, which some of our students found totally unprepared, we felt we were totally unprepared to take, is that industrialization turns the society upside down. I don't know whether I have the PowerPoint, Gerard. It's simply this. I think I need to stand up because I teach. And I don't teach sitting. It is not done.
Let us listen very carefully to Mwalimu.
And my PowerPoint is not there. So, it's this. We begin with a country like ours, where most of the people are rural and deriving their livelihoods from agriculture, and you move to a country in which most of the population is urban and deriving livelihoods from industry and from service, high quality service good employment. You turn the world upside down. That is one of the books that we actually assigned. Now, if you see, I'm trying to take, just by way of illustration, ladies and gentlemen, because we have graduates here today who carry the message, the subversive message to the country, is this. The next slide, please. I took 3 countries to illustrate what I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen. Kenya, Indonesia, and Germany. My very good hosts from the European Union, I'm not doing Germany a favor. I just picked it up by chance. Whether it's France or Italy or Switzerland or the Netherlands, the figures that show you what a rich industrial country looks like. The one where most of the people are urban and industrial, they're there. Look at Germany. The service sector, that is why we aim to be. The service sector is the leading employer and source of income. Industry is there, and Germany is lucky to have something like what it has. Agriculture, if you look, I think I'll abandon this. Agriculture in Germany is 1% of GDP, but is 1% of a very rich and very huge economy. You're talking about something like $50 billion, which is about half Kenya's GDP. It barely registers. Okay? But you can see 30% industry. The kind of services you're seeing in Germany are very high quality, highly rewarded categories. Research and development, in industry, medicine, teaching, in high quality reward. Now you come to us on the other extreme, that's Kenya. Look, our economy is still predominantly rural. We have 17% industry, 20-33% agriculture. The agriculture, that's 23%, is declining, but the service sector has been increasing, but not the high quality type of service sector that you find in a rich industrial country. It's highly informal, deregulated, and mostly not satisfactory to the kind of overwhelmingly young population that is coming out of our schools at the rate of 1 million, close to 1 million young people a year, and who want modern service sector jobs. It's a problem we have, we share with the rest of Africa. It is what you saw manifested, sadly, in the Gen Z demonstrations here, and ultimately the cause of that anger that we saw this past week in South Africa. Let's go to the next. No, let me see. Indonesia, in the middle, because you can't be Germany without going through a middle section there. You can't go from GDP per capita of $2,300, which we have in Kenya, and $136 billion to what Germany is, or France, or Italy, or Switzerland, or whatever. You'd have to be growing at a rate which nobody in this world has ever known. Very likely you'd have to be starting to being a middle-income, rapidly industrializing country like Indonesia, which could be Malaysia, it could be Thailand, it could be what Vietnam is heading to now, where you see Indonesia, services about 45%, industry 41%, because manufacturing manufacturing, agro-processing, the very same issues that Professor Nyong'o was raising, become a key player into the economy. Agriculture shrinks. It shrinks in proportion, but not in output. Indonesia is a large producer, probably the largest producer of cooking oil now in the world, the Saudi Arabia of cooking oil. And they've planted hugely, some say environmentally, unconsciously, over there. But you can see they're industrializing, so the industrial part of the economy is growing. Agriculture is growing, but not growing in value added as much as does the industrial sector. And that's why you had Indonesian GDP per capita about 5,000. That's about 3 times where we are. With some luck, you could get there in 10, 15 years. And then after that, hopefully, make the transition to Germany. Let me see the next slide, please. I want to emphasize in the next slide something else which is important. And that is, we don't often talk about the Great Transformation as something that involves a very large movement of peoples from the rural to the urban. What China has done from 1980, when Deng Xiaoping came in government, to the present, is unbelievable. 60% resident in urban areas now, compared to 70% rural in 78 when the reforms began. This is exactly what every other country does. Look at Germany, and I use that example there. 82% urban, barely 1%. Indonesia, now urbanization growing 59. Kenya, we are 32. But look at the growth in urban population. In Germany, hardly growing. Indonesia, 1.9. And these are World Bank figures. Our population in urban areas is growing at 3%. Guess what, guys? By 2050, half the Kenyan population will live in urban areas. That is the projection. That is the projection. With our government, with the best qualified experts on demography, how do you expect that 50% that is going to be transferred into urban areas to live? This is a question of the successor to Vision 2030 ought to do. Urbanization and urban development has been devolved to urban governments. The capacity of our urban governments to plan has been brought into question. But more interesting than that, livelihoods that must be tied to an industrializing country. That's the issue that we must do. If you look at the economies this week, ladies and gentlemen, at the head of it is American celebration. Ignore that, of 50 years. They have got an extensive coverage of urban development in Africa. And they're saying what you're really seeing in Africa is what you're seeing in Nairobi. New urban areas outside the city perimeter. Mostly being done by the African middle class themselves. Infrastructure following private development. Retrofitting of infrastructure after buildings have already been done by private sector or individuals costs 3 or 5 times what it would otherwise be if you had the sequence was the other way. That government, roads, water, electricity in advance, then private. But I said this is a tragedy that we are facing in Africa. If you're going to get this transformation, we must get urbanization and planning of our urban places seriously. Let's go to the next slide, please. And I'll tell you what. Here, and I'm not going to take a lot of time here because Professor Nyong'o was talking about this. And I'm very pleased that this is exactly what both of us over many years have taught and talked about. If you look at the time it took these countries to move from rural poor to urban rich industrial, that phase is being compressed. Great Britain, the first country in the world to undergo the Industrial Revolution did it in 80 years, like Professor Nyong'o said. France, 70. Germany, as you can see, 50 Japan, 40 Taiwan, and 30 South Korea. People's Republic of China has to be seen, and those of us who study and teach this stuff see that. It's unbelievable for a country of 1 billion plus people to do and undergo that transition in a period of 1 generation. It's a historic achievement. And right now, most academics who look at this are trying to figure out why and how. And there's considerable publication and writing on this issue, which we can do and look right from Britain to France to Germany, that's set, and then again, the newly industrializing countries. There's a lot we could learn from Kenya that will help us in Kenya. Now, let's go to the next slide, please. And I want to go to the next one because it's easier for us to discuss what it is that some lessons that we could learn from past experience, past publications, research, development, as well as practice. Number one, if you really want to grow, if you really want to move, you have to have a very high GDP growth rate year on year. China, first 10 years of reform, nearing 10, after accession to the WTO in 2001, upwards of 10%, consistently not going up and falling. Just like the minister said, we doubled our GDP between 1964 and 74, growing at 7% plus, same period in the next. If we had doubled it from 74 to 84, 7% again, and then from 84 to 94, we would be talking close to being where China and the rich countries are today. But what happens in Kenya is that it goes up and then goes down. Goes up, like that period I mentioned, then 203, 208, down. Then what we have been doing in the past decade and a half is growing at the average of about 5%. Not bad, but nothing stellar and nothing compared to Ethiopia, who are doing 10%, 15 years, Rwanda, and even Tanzania. Kenyans have to rekindle sustained growth over a long period of time if they want to move on. China's exceptionalism, reducing poverty in that period of time that I've mentioned for 600 million people. Growth with poverty reduction is written in, and we can do the same when we start moving towards this direction. I mentioned the period of the lack of continuity in growth, and I want to conclude by saying something that institutional change and institutional reform is something that we Kenyans have not kept going. If something works in Kenya, it tends to be used only for as long as the electoral cycle lasts, and is then abandoned. There was a National Economic and Social Council. Today, there are very few people in government who remember it. I know very few people who understand what was happening in those days, even though the information is always there. Finally, planning is probably the most important key component that has been identified in all those particular countries, particularly the late industrializers. It's better to plan and take time in planning than to move in rush. because you think you get there quicker. Unplanned development and planned programs. There is a study which came out of Oxford University of the largest development projects that have been undertaken in the world in the last 50 years. And the lessons that comes out is this. If you don't plan and think through, your chances of failure will be higher. We as Kenyans have got to use this opportunity to learn from others, to learn from ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Prof, I had to give him more time because he was my boss, but more so as a professor, it's also difficult to stop him from talking. So let's see how we'll manage time. We'll go to Julius. After Julius, then we'll go to the only lady here. Then after that, we'll just go from one end to the other end. So Julius, how much time do I give you? Like 3 minutes? You are a gentleman, just like me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, my namesake. I think I'll try to make it short because the heading itself is common sense. If you want rapid change, the mind must change. If the mind doesn't change, you will keep repeating what you did the previous day. We are now 63 years old as a country, but we are still a least developed country. Now, ideally, at independence, we wanted to be proud, we wanted to be rich. Even when we were crafting Vision 2030, 20 years ago, the same things were repeated. We want to be rich, we want to be progressive. So if you look at the slides, I'll make mine short and easy because we are saying we have to, can you put it on the new screen? No, it has to be here, so then it makes sense. The team that is projecting, can you also project in front? Okay, as I try to do it, so mine is just say, our ambitions are too low. And if we don't raise our ambitions, we will never change our mindsets. And for those of you in, all of you in public service, there are two things I want you to read. And these are products of Nobel Prizes. The Nobel Prize for 2024, the title of the book was Why Nations Fail. And it won the Nobel Prize for Economics. Read that book, Why Nations Fail. And the second one is the Nobel Prize for Economics in 2025, which is the power of creative destruction. And our message today is actually the power of creative destruction. So if you just move quickly to the next slide. Now, that is Kenya's ambition. Okay? We are number 6 in Africa in size of GDP, and we get excited. But Museveni told us, one pygmy trying to imitate another pygmy. So please, let's not celebrate number 6. Let us figure out, as the president says, where Singapore is. Where is Singapore? So if you look at the next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah, go to the next one. Okay, so those are the things that then must change. One, we must own Kenya. I'm saying this as a former public servant. Very few of us in public service own Kenya. We must say, this country must change. And it begins with the mindset. Those of you who have been trained as county commissioners today, you must then preach that ownership thing. Each person must own Kenya. The second one is innovation. we must then use the skills to innovate on the ground. Government policy always gives you a general guideline, but each civil servant must then innovate on their own. When I was director of KWS, they used to challenge me and say, oh, government doesn't do things like this. Then I used to tell them, Serikali ni mimi, I'm the one. So shut up, okay? So when you go to the ground, you must own and be innovative. The third one is discipline. Now, this is one challenge we have in this part of the world, discipline. And discipline in Ansiana, keeping time. And then doing the basics in society. The Japanese call it Kaizen. So if you go to KWS, every notes board today even has that Kaizen. The discipline required for us to go forward. And then the fourth one is competitiveness. Are we competitive as a country? And competitiveness compares ourselves to the very best in the world. So we need to ask yourself, at every workstation, am I competitive? Am I comparable to the best in the world? So next slide. So I want to set some targets for you, all of us together, okay? Our tourism numbers today is 2.7 million. If we were to go to 10 million, and this Morocco did in 10 years, it moved from 1 million to 10. It's number one in Africa today with 15 million tourists. Now, let me tell you why I put that figure of 10 million. In the tourism industry, it says for every 10 tourists, 1 permanent job is created. For every 10, 1 permanent job. So we can actually be employing, if we have 10 million tourists, we employ 1 million young people automatically. Permanent jobs. Forget about even the subsidiary jobs. Permanent jobs. So civil servants, are we ready for 10 million tourists? By 2030? Are we going to go with the same mindset? Same mindset? The answer is no. So it means, for example, we have to expand our airports, immigration people have to be friendly, the roads have to be expanded, security has to be enhanced. Everyone must play their part because you are part of the chain. You can't go with the same mindset. Second one is we want more jobs, manufacturing and everything else, but we don't have enough domestic savings. So we have to attract other people's savings. My recommendation is 40% of GDP by 2030 in new FDI. That is around 8 trillion Kenya shillings. For us to attract 8 trillion Kenya shillings, counties must work. There must be an investment officer in every county. We are one of the governors. Anyang, do you have an investment officer in Kisumu? He does. Kisumu is the cleanest town. You must clap for him. So, 8 trillion. Now, the country we are competing with and we are aspiring to be like is Singapore. As we are just aiming at 40% of GDP, Singapore is the size of Nairobi. It attracts higher GDP than India. FDI than India. Now, if you have a country which is 40 by 20 kilometers, and you have a country like India, which is 3.3 million square kilometers, that 40 by 20 attracts higher FDI. Do you think they have the same mindset like us? It can't be. We have to think different to attract. So, in the next cycle of NESC, we should be aiming at 100% FDI, equivalent to the existing GDP per annum, per year. And then exports. My recommendation is we double, okay? We double our exports. Now, doubling our exports means reforming the first one, which is agriculture, which is 24% of our GDP. We reform, okay? So we have new targets. County Commissioner, can you translate that into your target at your local unit? What does that mean? Then the final slide I'm going to look at, just go next. Next slide. Next one. Yes, this one. Now this is where things get hot. Okay? So I have a two graph. There are two issues that we must address: government reforms and enablement, and then citizen empowerment. So if you do look at that two dimension, two things must happen simultaneously. Our current GDP is growing at 4.5, so I estimate it to be 5%. We are aiming, where the person doing the sign language, that green there you can see is 10%. Now for us to reach 10%, each of these 6 pillars must work. Each of the 6 pillars. So the first one is citizen obligation. Maendeleo cannot be given to a citizen who is asleep. Provincial administration and the police and everybody, the citizen must be alive. So a Chang'an guy, a guy who goes for Chang'an at 5 a.m. cannot be part of Kenya's progress. Never. I cannot be paying tax because the taxpayers in KRA register is 3.2 million. And there's a guy who wakes up who is waiting for my salary to pay his NHIF. It can't be. So therefore, every citizen must wake up in the morning and roll their sleeves and work. If we do that, my estimate is 1% increase in GDP growth. The second one is executive. I think Waziri has put it very well. He talked about we must reform the public service, okay, and the chairman of Public Service Commission is here. We must reform the executive to drive change. And there are many proposals, okay? A lot of them are not so deep because the public service has been progressed. The one which requires critical reform and it will contribute to 1% of growth is police reform. If the police is not reformed in Kenya, we will not attract FDI. Why? It is the beginning of the justice system. I used to work for investment promotion, and every investor anywhere in the world, the first and most critical thing they measure a country with is rule of law. So therefore, the first thing I am proposing there is the tenure of IG or police be 10 years. In our constitution, it is 4. Nobody can reform an institution in 4 years. So PS, never. We must change that clause. I think it's clause 253 to 10 years. And we say, IG or police, reform this thing. The other thing is the police don't have what all uniformed forces in Kenya have, which is a cadet system. It doesn't have. So therefore, you can rise from a constable to IG. I always can. Okay? And then the judiciary must work. The legislature. The legislature is very interesting because a world-class parliament produces 50 laws in a year. Ours produces 50 laws in 5 years. So productivity of parliament must increase dramatically. And then the last one, I put land reforms. Investors don't float in the air. Investors land somewhere. Our access to land is so difficult, it is impossible to attract investment. Extremely difficult. Either you are conned or you will get fake documents along the way. Remember, an investor has 200 other countries you are competing with. So therefore, if a country is frustrating access to land, you just forget about it. So therefore, each of these pillars contributes 1%. So if Kenya wants to go to 5%, from 5% to 10%, we must reform the citizens, the executive, police, standing on its own, the judiciary, the legislature, and land reform. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Julius. I think there are many points that have come through. I have 6 very respected dignitaries, and so looking at my watch, we have 20 minutes to 1. So how much time do I give each one of them? 5 minutes? So, Your Excellency, Ambassador of China, 5 minutes, please.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Please allow me to sit. It's convenient for me to read from my remarks. Honorable CS, AG, Principal Secretaries, Director General, KSG, and all protocols observed. Very good afternoon. And it's my great honor and a pleasure to join you in this grand celebration. My warmest congratulations to all of you. And thank you very much for the invitation and give me this opportunity to learn from each other. As advised, I will start by sharing my point of view on the experience of China's economic and social development. As the previous speakers have mentioned, we have achieved twin miracles, the fast economic development and long-term social stability. I will share some points. I think I have 4 points to share. First is that last week in China, we also celebrated a significant milestone. That is the 105th anniversary of Communist Party of China. And that is my first point, that the leadership of CPC is a fundamental guarantee of China's development. As a major country, without a strong leadership of a party that truly represents the interest of the people, would be fragmented and would achieve nothing. And my second point of view is that adhering to people-centered approach is the source of strength for China's development. As mentioned in the invitation to me, I will take the poverty reduction as an example. Since reform and opening up in 1978, more than 770 million of China's rural population living below the current poverty line have been raised from poverty. Especially since 2012, China has fought a decisive battle against poverty that is unprecedented in scale and intensity, and has benefited the largest number of people in poverty in human history, completed the arduous task of eliminating extreme poverty. In this process, we have advanced the poverty reduction process based on China's reality. I like to mention by precisely identifying and registering impoverished households to address the issue of whom to support, by strengthening leadership and building robust teams to address the issue of who will provide support, by categorizing different situations and adopting targeted measures, combining development-driven poverty alleviation, relocation, ecological compensation, education, and social security safety nets to address the issue of how to provide support, and by innovating mechanisms for certifying those who have been lifted out of poverty to address the issue of how to exit poverty. So China's central government departments and institutions paired up to assist 592 impoverished counties, 9 eastern provinces and 14 cities paired up to assist 14 provinces in Central and Western Africa, and tens of thousands of private enterprises have formed partnerships to assist impoverished villages, forming a powerful synergy that ultimately secured a comprehensive victory in the fight against poverty. My third point is that the formulation and implementation of scientific development plans provide institutional framework for China's development. Especially in particular, the introduction of reform and opening up in 1978 and China's accession to WTO in 2001 enabled China to integrate deeply into globalization and jointly build a solid foundation for sustained rapid growth of the economy and a sustainable, substantial increase in comprehensive national strengths. And my fourth point is that innovation-driven development is a key to sustained growth and long-term resilience for China's development. So we have blazed a successful path whereby scientific and technological innovation spearheads industrial innovation, and industrial upgrade propels scientific and technological evolution. And I'd also like to make some proposal for our bilateral cooperation. We understand that Kenya is an economic hub and a gateway in East Africa, boasts prominent human resources advantages and a well-established democratic governance system, making it one of the countries with the best business environment and stable political conditions in Africa. Kenya is also an important partner in Belt and Road Cooperation and holds special and important position in our diplomacy. Looking to the future, we're willing to enhance synergy with Kenya. I have 3 points of proposal. Firstly, we'd like to strengthen practical cooperation to achieve common development. China and Kenya should seize the opportunity of the zero tariff policy of China to African countries to expand economic trade and investment cooperation and increase export of Kenyan products to China. Both sides should further deepen our industrial alignment, explore cooperation potential in both traditional industry and emergent fields. And secondly, we'd like to strengthen talent cultivation to consolidate foundation for development. Education, science, technology, and talents are fundamental pillars supporting our development. Thirdly, we'd like to strengthen exchanges and mutual learning to enhance development capacity. Last year, during His Excellency President Ruto's state visit to China, the 2 heads of state witnessed the signing of MOU between KSG and the China National Academy of Governance. So the embassy is willing to continue to promote deeper cooperation between the 2 important academies. We will continue to firmly support each other in exploring development paths that suit our respective national conditions, enhance our experience sharing, and deepen our cooperation in capacity building. And we would like to become fellow passengers on the way to modernization. I stop here. Thank you very much. Asante sana.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Ambassador, for those remarks. Go Haiyan. We really do appreciate. I'm sure that the Secretariat is taking notes on all those good points that are coming through. So let's now start with Singapore in the far end, and then we come through. About 4 minutes each, please. Thank you, and mention your name when you are speaking, please. Thank you, sir.
Hello. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I am Neil Chandaria, the Honorary Consul of Kenya to Singapore. And I think the rapid growth and development of Singapore can provide some important lessons and opportunities for Kenya. Singapore is a country which has transformed from third world to first world within a generation. And I think it is largely due to the high quality of the leadership and public institutions and civil service. And I think that is what is most important for Kenya to learn, how to use our civil service, our leadership, and our public institutions to build this growth for the future. And I think Singapore has been quite open and supportive to providing training and assistance to many civil servants and government officials from Kenya. And I think this is what we should be benefiting and using more extensively. I think the 3 or 4 things that are important from a leadership and institutional perspective as far as Singapore is concerned is, one, I think a leadership and civil service which is highly ethical and very, very strong integrity. Second, I would say, is that a leadership and civil service which is very passionate about uplifting the standards of its people. And thirdly, a very pragmatic approach to implementation. The Singapore government pushes hard on what works, innovative, always trying new things, new policies. But if something doesn't work, they don't think it's a defeat, they don't think it's a problem, they will move back and try something new. So I think we need to have constant innovation, change, and try to see how to improve our Kenyan institutions, how to strengthen our leadership, and how to build more innovation. And I think Singapore can offer and continues to offer opportunities for Kenyans to learn from this, for this development. And I think Singapore is a very small country, so it cannot be compared to a large country like Kenya. But certainly, Singapore can offer certain practical lessons as to how Kenya can move to the next level of development. And I welcome, I think we have been receiving many delegations from Kenya into Singapore, and I welcome more from Kenya to learn from the experiences and opportunities that Singapore has benefited from. Thank you.
Let's clap, Father. Clap for me also. I was one of the delegations sometimes back, over 10 years, and we visited him. I don't know how much we have implemented out of what we agreed. Ambassador of Azerbaijan? Oh, the only mic. Right. Thank you.
Yeah, I do. Waziri Mheshimiwa, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, it's a great honor to be here. My sincere congratulations. I promise to be haraka. Kwa sababu it's really hatari to be the changamoto or matatizo between watu yote and chakula. Mimi yamini watu yote isinja sana. But jokes aside, as I said, it's a huge pleasure and privilege to be here. And for me to send my message best, I would like to say that Azerbaijan, of whom many of you probably hear for the first time today, except for those who are following Formula One or maybe were following the World Urban Forum that took place in my country earlier this year, back in 1991 when the Soviet Union collapsed, we were really far away from where we are today. We're a small country with completely destroyed economy. We've been defeated by our neighbors, by 20% of our territory occupied. 1 million out of 10 million citizens of Azerbaijan became refugees and IDPs in their own country. And as I said, it was a very, very long journey. What has made it possible, along with strong leadership, is the governance. is the people who have shown the ownership, who have shown the courage, and who have made that change possible. What we're seeing today, I'll limit myself to saying that in a country where the salaries of government employees were delayed by 8 or 10 months, our state oil fund currently operates a package of $74 billion US. And those who visited Baku, and I'm sure there will be more opportunities for many Kenyans to travel, not just for Formula, can see the progress made. I mean, we're not problem-free. It's not like everything is perfect. It never is. But the change is possible. KSG stands for the Kenyan School of Government, but I also believe in a way it's a Kenyan School of Greatness, because the graduates of this school are making the change possible and are driving and supporting a very ambitious agenda that the Kenyan leadership is currently pursuing. Your religious take on education is one of your greatest fortes, and your other strengths, even more than the beautiful nature and the natural resources, are the people. I'm really congratulating the KSG for the role it's playing in enabling Kenya and harnessing its potential, and without further ado, thanking you once again for your attention.
Shall we clap for Ambassador? And thank you for that eloquent presentation in Swahili. It's like you can do your session in Swahili. Asante sana. So let's go to Prof from South Korea. Prof, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, could you display my presentation material front screen? Jambo sana. Habari gani? I am a Tibet expert. Therefore, today I focus on the relationship between country economic growth and Tibet. Please move to the next slide. First, I would like to explain that the country classification proposed by Simon Kuznets, the economist who developed the concept of the gross domestic product as well as the GDP. He classified the countries of the world into the 4 categories. Please move to the next one. First, next. First is developed countries like Italy. Second is a developing country like Kenya. Third, Japan. Fourth, Argentina. Among these, Japan is the only country that successfully transformed from a developing country to a developed country. In my view, one more category deserves to be added to Dr. Kuznets' classification, the Republic of Korea. Korea is the only country in the world that has successfully transformed it from an aid recipient country into a donor country. Please move to the next. Move to the next slide. Could you click the video clip middle of a slide?
The miracle on the Han River, South Korea's economic triumph. Post-war resilience, South Korea's Han River. Turns economic miracle. In the 1960s, South Korea, reeling from the Korean War, strategically embraced rapid industrialization, transforming into a global economic powerhouse. Emerging from the war's shadows, South Korea prioritized heavy industries and export-led growth. Companies like Samsung and Hyundai soared globally, fueled by policies promoting education and innovation. This deliberate economic shift symbolizes Korea's resilience, determination, and adaptability, reshaping its identity. Beyond economics, it's a lesson in visionary leadership and a people's unwavering spirit. South Korea's journey along the Han River illustrates the transformative power of strategic planning, innovation, and the resilience of its people. The miracle on the Han River.
Korea's 5 years economic development plan shown on the left side of the screen played a pivotal role in the country's economic development. Each plan can be divided into 3 major phases, each corresponding to the different stage of Korea's economic development. As Korea's economic improved, its development planning also evolved from government-led planning to a more strategic and collaborative approach involving both the public and the private. Through the government comprehensive economic development policies, the effort of the private sector and the active investment in education, Korea was able to achieve economic development shown on the right slide of the screen. As you see on the screen, Korea ranked on the 7th in terms of the number of companies with 15 companies from Korea was listed. Please move to the next slide. The graph on the screen provides an overview of the change in Korean economy. First, the graph on the left shows the transformation of the Korea's industry structure. Around 1985, Korea's industry structure shifted from agriculture to a manufacturing-centered economy. Move to the next one. The graph on the right shows change in the Korea's GDP and the per capita GNI. Taken together, the two graphs show that Korea's economic growth began on earnest after its economic structure shifted toward manufacturing from agriculture. Next, I would like to explain how Korea's education system contributed to the country's economic development. First, Korea pursued human resource development through the rapid and sequential expansion of the elementary, secondary, and higher education in line with the country's economic growth and development. Move to the next one. Yeah. The table on the screen illustrates how Korea's education system responded to changing workforce demand at different stages of the economic development. Second, Korea ensured the stable supply of the highly skilled workers to the industry through the expansion and the continuous improvement of technical and vocational education and training called the TVET. Third, as part of the 5-year economic development plan, the government strengthened the compulsory elementary education and continuously improved the educational conditions, thereby establishing a strong foundation for long-term human capital development. In summary, Korea's education system has been closely aligned with the country's economic development policies. It has continuously improved and innovated to develop the skilled workforce required at each stage of economic development. Please move to the next slide. This slide illustrates the evaluation of Korea's education system. As shown on the screen, the development of Korea's education system can be divided into 4 major stages. I would like to draw your attention to a stage highlighted in yellow color, titled Education for Economic Growth. It was during this period that Korea began making substantial investment in education and implementing major educational reform through its economic development policies and related legislation. To support this transformation, Korea's TVET system has also improved significantly. In the past, generally in Korea, vocational training was generally focused on only traditional occupation. But today, it has expanded to including cutting-edge industries such as semiconductor, biotechnology, artificial intelligence, and other advanced technology sectors. In short, Korea's education system has continuously improved in response to change in the economy and the industry, ensuring that the workforce possesses the skills needed for each stage of national development. Please move to next. I would like to conclude my presentation by offering 4 recommendations on how TVET can contribute more effectively to economic development. First, strong ministry policy coordination and collaboration are essential. From time to time, I visit many countries. during my visiting, I found out something. There is some big fragmentation between Minister of Labor and the Minister of Education. Second, Tibet must continuously reform itself to support economic development by developing highly skilled technical workforce that meets the changing demands of industry and the technical innovation. Third, a strong governance model with a clearly defined organizational structure is needed to support institutional innovation and sustainable development. Fourth, quality, most important. The quality must be emphasized throughout the entire process, from planning and implementation to monitoring and evaluation. Go to next. The diagram on the right illustration the concept that best-in-class Tibet system strive for balance. This framework was developed through the analysis of the best practice in Tibet system from countries such as South Korea, Finland, United Kingdom, etc. The key message of this diagram is that to successful implementation, the 4 recommendations I have presented, it is essential to build a leading Tibet system that pursue a balanced approach and a balanced development across the various key elements shown in the diagram. Please move to next. As many of you know, Korea is the only country in the world that has transitioned from an aid recipient nation to a donor country. So, KODA is Korea's national-level international cooperation initiative designed to support economic and social development based on Korea's own development experience. Through KODA, KOICA Embassy and KOICA aim not only to provide support but to pursue mutual growth, where Korea and the partner countries advance together. Korea has accumulated extensive experience in economic development and in continuously reform its Tibet system to support that development of the economy. The Korea government is committed to sharing this experience with the partner country through Korea's official development assistance called KODA. As the Korea government's lead agency for development cooperation, KOICA plays a central role in the implementing KODA program, sharing Korea development experience and supporting sustainable development around the world. In Kenya especially, KOICA has been implementing a wide range of Tibet cooperation programs since 2016 to share Korea's Tibet expertise and supporting development of the country's Tibet system. Currently, KOICA is implementing 2 flagship Tibet initiatives. One is a capacity building project for the National Industry Training Authority, NITA, under the Minister of Labor, and aimed at enhancing the employability of the youth and the women. The other is the Greening Tibet Capacity Development Project under the Ministry of Education, implementing in partnership with the GIZ. These initiatives reflect KOICA's strong commitment to strengthening Kenya's Tibet system and
Can we try to
equality.
wind up, please, Prof?
And move to next, please.
Thank you.
I believe KSG will be contribute continuously to develop of Kenya, and Kenya will be the pride of Africa. Kenya yetu hakuna matata. Asante sana.
Thank you. Let us clap for Prof. Kamsahamida. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Chief guests, I have passed my time. I don't know what to do. I have 2 dignitaries who haven't spoken. Can I be allowed to get them to speak? Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so, Ambassador of France, Your Excellency Arnaud, around 4 minutes, please.
Yes.
Sababien.
Asante sana. Itifaki zote zingizingatiwa. Kwanza kabisa ningependa kusema pongezi kwa shule hii kwa mwaka 100. Tena pongezi kwa wanafunzi. And let me get to the thing, because I think I'm the only obstacle with the Italian ambassador, by the way, between you and the lunch. So let me build on what has been said. I think the numbers are interesting, what I heard about the time you industrialize. But I think, when you industrialize, as we did in the 19th century, it took much more time. Now we're talking about the third, fourth, fifth revolution. So I think, the comparison is interesting, but it's also, you have to put it in historical context. I mean, France is also an example that you can industrialize without having natural resources. We've never produced oil and fossil fuel. Still, we have the fourth largest energy company in the world. So basically, we produce what others have, but with our skills. Maybe 3 or 4 points. And can be, of course, reflecting for a partner and a friend like Kenya. One, I think, it's not that everything works, but we've been asked, I think, to give some of the success stories or keys for success. So I'll be positive and probably avoid the details. But one strong component in our industrial or our prosperity journey has been a strong investment in human capital driving innovation, and especially in the fields of STEM. I mean, there's not been figures, but what you want to look also is the number of field medals, which are the Nobel Prize in mathematics. France has been the second nation, and for a country of our size, we take that as pride. Nobel Prize in physics, I think we've been getting, with the fourth nation getting a Nobel Prize. Economic Nobel Prize, we have been getting the third nation to get those prizes for whatever they mean. Is still an interesting benchmarking. AI, I think nowadays, I'm not sure that's sort of a ranking, but I think that's something you need to look at if you want to benchmark and compare. But we have been investing robustly in human capital, in education, and especially in the field of STEM. Second point, I think it has been said by others, to have a robust policy framework and having some state-driven, efficient policies, I think has been also a key part. I think I want to emphasize here, being at this Kenyan School of Governance, the importance of training elite and policy officers. I see Professor Noura, we've been committed to have this partnership between the equivalent of France and the Kenyan School of Government in terms of curriculum development, but also having more specific training according to your needs, and we'll continue on those leadership programs. Third point, I think it's trust and confidence. And I would say, even for France, as for Kenya, you need to gain and nurture and consolidate investors' confidence. Because your country is your country because others are investing into it. You want others to put their money into your own development. It's the same, it's for France the same. And we've been lucky and working hardly to be the first destination of FDI in Europe for the last couple of years. It takes a lot of effort. We see investors' confidence growing in Kenya, and France is the fourth largest private investor in Kenya. But I think that's something you need to nurture. You want others to put their capital in your economy. I think last point I'll make, it is about regional integration. For countries of the size of France, to put our development and our growth at scale, it's definitely within the context of our region, which is the European Union. And so it has been an important journey for us. And now when you see important strategic industrial projects, we come together. We always mention Airbus, which is a Franco-German, Spanish, and even UK venture. The UK are doing the engine, France, Germany doing the rest of the plane. I have my Italian colleague. We have also a very strong partnership with Italy in the field of space. So those major industrial endeavors, we cannot do it as one nation only, but we have to go at the European or regional scale, which I think for Kenya makes sense when you want to reflect on the East African community. In conclusion, I want to say that where we believe France, we have a competitive edge or we have a domain of excellence, that's exactly where we're trying to develop partnerships and cooperation with Kenya. I'll quote a free example. Energy. France is one of the, it's a powerhouse when it comes to nuclear energy. So we have signed an MOU with Kenya in developing nuclear energy in this country. But also we want to learn from Kenya, because one of the most clean source of energy that I think Kenya has mastered is geothermal, and we want also to have this cross exchange. Transport. In France we produce those fast, this very quick train, that can bring you from one part of the country to another one in 3 hours. But we also sign, and we're going to break ground with His Excellency about, the modernization of the Nairobi commuter rail to help decongest Nairobi. And then I will say AI and STEM and education, because I think that's the most sustainable way investing in the future for both our countries, basically. And we're going to break ground with a new science and engineering complex within the University of Nairobi with a data center. So the future is bright between our two countries, and I think the journey may take some time, but I think we need to put the stepping stone. Asante sana.
Thank you, merci beaucoup. Really do appreciate. Let's go to the last speaker. On my right, the ambassador of Italy. If, sir, you can try 4 minutes, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me reassure each and every, I've changed the title of my intervention, and the intervention will be KISS. I will keep it short and simple. Dear CS, PS, AG, representatives from the Kenya School of Government, Excellencies, Governor, all protocols observed. First of all, let me say that I'm delighted to be here and that this school holds a special place in Kenya and for the Kenyans, but it also holds a special case in the relations between your country and my country, this school and the homologue school in Italy. I think that most of the points that I wanted to raise have already been mentioned by my colleague and friend, the French ambassador, Arnaud Suquet, since the economic development of European countries has fundamentally followed the same path. And I can't agree more with what you, Professor, said at the beginning of your intervention. Industrialization turns a country upside down, and it turned my country upside down. Italy was an agricultural country until the end of the Second World War. Today, services account for 70% of the national GDP, and the GDP is roughly 95% of the entire African GDP. And to offer you another figure, last year in the field of tourism, which is yet an immense potential for this country, Italy hosted something like 479 million presences, which means nights spent by tourists in Italian accommodation infrastructure, which is huge. And this year we will almost get to the unbelievable threshold of 700 billion euros value of our national export for such a tiny country compared to other major powers. So if I may, this is a boundless conversation. My contribution is essentially a miniature without this boundless topic. But maybe I will offer you a pentagram, a stave, and each of these staves commences with one word. The first is history. You can't imagine how history plays and has played a role in the Italian development. Think about the Roman infrastructures. Think about the transition from barter to currency, which introduced the idea of financial markets already in the Roman Empire, and that has stayed. Think of the imprint of Roman law in my civil law, in the European civil law systems. Society, and I can't agree more with what Arnaud said a moment ago, STEM, invest in STEM. The role of civil society and of the civic space, the role of democracy. There is no resilient economic development without democratic institutions. Society, internal migration, this is exactly the path Kenya's undertaking as well, right? And that comes with the rise of the new middle class. Economy is my fourth line of the pentagram, with the rapid growth and the industrialization. And think of we got 21 Nobel Prizes. I mean, Guglielmo Marconi was the first one, and he invented the radio. And in Kenya lives one of the nephews of an Italian Nobel Prize, Giulio Natta. He's the inventor of plastics. And the nephew lives between Milan and Naivasha. And politics. Politics has played a pivotal role in the economic development. I can't be more grateful to the fathers of my country and my constitution for having given me Europe, the European Union. The European Union, the introduction of euro, have been immense multipliers of our economic development. But today the debate is not about industrialization. It is, and it goes well beyond the borders of my country and Europe itself. It's about fundamentally productivity and competitiveness, because the challenges are three: innovation, decarbonization and competitiveness, security and dependencies. And with the waning, if I may say politely, when geopolitical stability is waning, our dependencies have turned out to be vulnerabilities. And this is against the backdrop of a technological change that is accelerating at an unprecedented path. So the conversation in Europe is, how do we reconcile now productivity and competitiveness against the backdrop of the twin major transitions, the green and the digital one, and be aware of the fact that the digital one must precede the green. Now, and I will quickly get to the conclusion, I see a number of intersections with my country, Europe and Kenya. From a political standpoint, Kenya is an exporter of democracy and a security provider. Security is a tapestry, it's a tapestry on which to embroider the picture of a country, and that comes together with diplomacy and with democracy. And I would advocate for a continuous multidimensional foreign policy spanning agriculture to innovation, science, human capital. And let me salute the agreement that we signed last week at bilateral level on migration and legal labor migration channels between our two countries. Interdependencies, they work and they are healthy for economic systems, provided that they happen between democracies, because that is the treaty of counterinsurance, if I may say so. Otherwise, they raise a number of questions. And if I may conclude with one sentence, given that development happens in in an historical context, in a geographical context, in a human context. And we all come from different backgrounds. We all have our own development path and stories to tell. So we all learn from past successes and mistakes, and therefore the method is not written before we start the process, but the method is the way once it has been walked. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we appreciate our panelists, please? I want to thank the Kenya School of Government for organizing such an eminent group of panelists. I am sure we can talk today, tomorrow, the day after, because there is a lot of wealth of knowledge here. So I want to encourage the MC to come over as I am winding up so that we can agree on the next steps. Or if we had the time, we would open this session for questions to be asked. I'm sure we have got 1,001 questions, but I'm mindful about time. So I want to be guided by the session MC. But what we committed to do, I am confident and I'm sure we have started a conversation that is going to lead us into what we want as Kenya. May I say through you, Chief Guests, these panelists who have been here, except for Azerbaijan, in my 15 years in government, as CEO of the National Economic and Social Council, CEO of Vision Delivery Board, PS for Economic Planning, PS for National Treasury, I have gone for benchmarking to all these countries. We've taken notes about what should be done. What has not been done is what has not been done. Thank you very much. God bless us all.
I request that you remain seated, but I want to thank you. Bwana CS, this type of discussion is what takes place in our class here called Leadership Program for National Transformation. That is the type of program we have. We have PSS who have attended that program. It is not like any other program we have. We would encourage your office to encourage your colleagues and those below you immediately to be partakers of that program. It's a wonderful program. It's discursive. It actually takes this type of environment, and when you walk away, you walk with a lot of satisfaction. It's not like the traditional talk and tell them. It's about what we can do. With your permission, sir, we want to request that you, the PSS present here, the Chairman of Council and the Director General and his management team pose for a group photograph with these eminent persons, with your permission. And thereafter, Priska will give them a token of appreciation. Most welcome.
A round of applause for our panel, the High Panel on Advocacy on National Wealth Management and Competitive Advantage, as they come forward to take a picture with our chief guests and our PSS. Thank you very much for your patience as we wait for this session to be complete. You have been very amenable to the program and the time it has taken. We have learned a lot as well. And also a big thank you to our panelists, starting with our moderator, Dr. Julius Muya, who's a former PS, National Treasury, as well as his boss, in his own words, Mr. Dr. Chege Michael, who is an expert in international development. We also want to thank the excellencies, the ambassadors, the ambassador to Italy, Mr. Monaco, the ambassador to France, Mr. Arnaud Souquet, the ambassador to Azerbaijan, Mr. Olgu, the ambassador to Singapore as well, Mr. Chandaria. We also want to thank Professor Jumsuk Baek from South Korea. Thanks to K-drama, we are now familiar with what happens in Korea. And of course, our chief guests and donors, developers, developing partners. we want to recognize the presence of Mr. Manu Chandaria, who had already pledged earlier on that the Chandaria Foundation will be supporting 4 of the top graduates of the Kenya School of Government every year, for which we are very grateful. This is a government of walking and talking, ni kusema na kutenda. So we are grateful for that show of commitment in terms of the support that the private sector extends to this school. And as our guests leave, please remember, we will be giving the gifts later on. We will coordinate it during lunch. Priska will be coordinating that to ensure that you get your gifts. We would like to thank you for your time. And please, before you sit down, Bwana CS, Your Excellencies, the ambassadors, we have a cake because we are celebrating 100 years, a whole century. We want to say it with a cake. And there's nothing that celebrates sweetness more than a cake. So please, 1 more minute of your time. I know the Italian ambassador is pressed for time. You have a flight, but I can guarantee you will make it on time. So 1 more minute for the cake cutting, and then we can all break for lunch. I'm sure we could all use a meal. It's been a long yet productive morning. We're very grateful for your patience, and the cake gets to sweeten things up as we prepare for the afternoon. In the afternoon, we will have a session that will be led by Professor Ludeki Chwer on a policy framework and shifts necessary for transformation. I forgot to mention the only lady on the panel, Her Excellency, the Chinese ambassador to Kenya, Mrs. Guo Haiyan. Thank you very much for your time. We're waiting for the cake to be brought out. Oh, the cake is on the other side, yes. I think we should move to the other side after the photographers and the videographers are done taking the pictures. Yes. Your Excellencies, kindly let's move towards my right and let's move towards the right and just have the cake cutting ceremony. I would like to welcome our Excellencies, who will be joined by the Director General, Professor Noura Mohammed, in the cake cutting ceremony. Of course, adorned in the colors of our flags, the red, green, black, and white, symbolizing unity, celebrating 100 years of unity, of excellence in public service. This is not 10 years, this is not silver anniversary, this is not jubilee, this is centenary celebrations. 100 years is not a joke. So we are grateful for your commitment, for the government of the day and the governments of the day that have been in ensuring that we have a public service that is well enabled, that is trained to ensure proper service delivery to the Mwananchi of Kenya. So as the Excellencies come on board to help join in the cake cutting. Yes, we are ready. Maybe the band can guide us on this part, give us the right music for the right celebration.
Yes, Ale.
Mrs. Idele, your presence is required at the cake cutting ceremony. And Mr. Mbehelo, your presence is kindly required at the cake cutting ceremony. Our able panelists, please do not leave. We want you to have the first taste of this delicious cake. Dr. Julius Kipngetich, CEO, Jubilee Insurance. Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, County Governor Kisumu. Excellencies, ambassadors, please wait a minute. And of course, Professor Chege, please spare a moment to enjoy the cake.
Tam tam tam, keki ni tamu ae. 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 Tam tam, keki ni tamu ae. Tam 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 tam tam, keki ni tamu ae. Zota Aleba Inos Kutasalo. Eagles Maestro Banda. Ungelikuwa Mungu anauliza mwanadamu jinsi ya kumtendea mwanadamu, basi mimi nisingekuwa jinsi nilivyo. Tena leo nisingekuwa mahali nilipo. Ungeambiwa sifai, ungeonekana fikali, ungekumbushwa dhambi zangu za kale. Baba yoyo, unabariki unayependa, unabariki unavyopenda. Mimi nahitaji ndio yako Yesu tu, nahitaji ndio yako Yesu tu. Mimi nataka ndio yako Yesu tu, ndio yako ndio itanisimamisha, ndio yako itanifungulia milango. Yes, Lord. Sikio lenye funiko jamani, wala sijaona jicho lenye pazia. Adui zangu wangelikuwa na uwezo, wangefunga macho, wangefunika masikio, wasikuone ukiwa juu, wasisikie umebarikiwa. Meza utaandaliwa mbele yao. Zota ale.
And this is the order we are going to follow. Our chief guest, the cabinet secretary, and the PSs, the governors present, our diplomats, the regional commanders, commissioners, the CEOs of government parastatals, a former staff of KSG, sponsors, and of course, development partners. You will please proceed to lunch to the left of where I'm standing. Margaret Corbier restaurant. That is to my left. The rest of us, that is the KSG graduates and the team and everybody else who is present, you will proceed for lunch to the right, where we can see the big tent. Yes, we will be back here by 2:15, but let's strive to be back here by 2 so that we can settle down well before the session begins, so that we can be on time to give more room for interaction. Enjoy your lunch.
Watu wanaotafuta vitambulisho wanaombwa wafike katika afisi za uandikishaji zilizo karibu nao.
Ask not what Kenya has done for you. Rather be disciplined enough to ask yourself what you have done or can do for your community.
Harambee!
For generations, public service has been the thread connecting government and the people. For 100 years, the Kenya School of Government has prepared the leaders behind our nation's progress. The leaders who strengthen institutions, drive national transformation, deliver quality public services, turn policy into action, and through devolution, bringing government services closer to the people. Today, as Kenya invests in modern infrastructure, affordable housing, universal healthcare, food security, digital transformation, and opportunities for its youth, the need for capable, ethical, and visionary leadership has never been greater. The next century will demand leaders who embrace innovation, harness the power of artificial intelligence, and deliver public service that is productive, smarter, faster, and centered on every citizen. As it begins its second century, the Kenya School of Government is positioning itself as Africa's premier institution for public service leadership and a global center of excellence for learning, innovation, and governance. For the last 100 years, the Kenya School of Government has prepared leaders for their time. For the next 100 years, it will prepare leaders for the future. 100 years of public service excellence. The next century begins now.